Paradoxes always have the potential to conspire against the observer. Arguably, the best known example of this is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which states that it is impossible to measure simultaneously with any degree of accuracy both the position and the momentum of an electron. Maybe every time a new quasi-particle is discovered, posited, observed, in order to fill a gap in the theory, the trailing structural couplings will interfere with the empirical experiments and require even more particles to fill in more gaps in the theory. Shockingly, about 30% of the fundamental particles being modeled in today's particle physics are hypothetical. The only evidence of their existence is their necessity to fill the gaps in the equations. However, solutions always multiply, proliferate, disperse, circulate, diversify, diffuse the original problem. The multi-million-dollar Large Hadron Collider that came online in September 2008 is looking for the Higgs boson, the God particle, an explanation for how the universe holds itself together. However, the collider has been an embarrassing chapter of accidents from day one. Some scientists have even suggested that the Higgs boson might be abhorrent to nature. Apparently, the collider is sabotaging itself from the future. These are the same people who invented the thing in the first place. Their present model is now so hyper-complex that it is difficult to justify that it simply popped into existence in a random way. Will we soon see physicists putting it down to intelligent design? God did it. Or was Moondog, the New York poet, closer to the mark? What I say of science here, I say without condition, that science is the latest and the greatest superstition. These same physicists tell us that our world of solid matter is actually an illusion. To them, most of it is empty space, sparsely occupied by elementary particles that, of course, are not illusions. The effect of various forces at this fundamental and minuscule scale, acting upon and between the various bits and pieces down there, is mistakenly experienced as solidity by us up here at the scale that humans inhabit. However, their world of fundamental particles cannot be viewed with direct observation. Rather, it has to be imagined into existence in hypothetical models and measured via proxies. And there's the rub. The categorizing metaphors that created the world of particles must ultimately be based upon observations experienced in the world we inhabit, the world that was rejected by the people who invented these models. Quite a paradox, or is it just absurd? The theory that created the model world of particles started with atoms, imagined into existence as a space scantily occupied with a collision of tiny billiard balls. Then it was replaced self-referentially by another metaphor, where particles were also waves, and yet more paradoxes. The function of these metaphors is to impose the illusion of meaning on the micro world with the use of models, which were formed in and thus can never fully leave this solid macro world that we inhabit. Thus, we have entered a never-ending loop where ideas based in metaphors have ultimately to deny others in a vain attempt to avoid the paradoxes and absurdities. Each trip around this loop, the denial has to be supported by the creation of an ever more sophisticated variation of the original ideas. But that too must be based in metaphor with its own paradoxes, which again must be avoided with an even more sophisticated variation. This is what Nietzsche called refined ignorance.